It's a Teen Talk Skating podcast where I embarrass myself. Hello, and welcome to episode 91 of the Teen Talk Skating podcast. My name is Anko. I hope you guys are all doing very, very well. This week has literally been such a roller coaster of emotions. Like, it felt like so long. I felt like everything was dragging on for like forever. I've been really stressed from school and stuff. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like every class has so much homework. Every teacher is just like throwing stuff at me for to do. I'm just like, I don't want to do any of it. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm trying to like calm down and just relax and just record my usual podcast episode. And I just need to take some nap, I think. I just need to get some sleep and just recollect and try to reframe my perspective on things. But genuinely, it feels like the mountain of homework and work is just never ending at all. And I'm just like, I'm so done with it. And I just feel so stressed. But I don't know, alongside like 50 million other things happening in my life, um, I do want to apologize if you're watching the podcast from YouTube, because I do link my Spotify to the YouTube, if that makes sense. And so every episode I upload on Spotify automatically gets uploaded on YouTube. But for some reason, like when I upload it to YouTube, it usually starts as private. And I literally have it set in the settings to make it public when I upload it to YouTube. And so I don't know why that's happening. And so it'll randomly turn into private for some reason. I have no idea why, but I'm trying to fix it, or at least trying to manually go in and fix it every episode I upload. But it's kind of been an ordeal. But I hope you guys are doing very well. I hope you guys aren't as so busy as I am. But yeah, I hope you guys are all doing amazing and great and happy. And yeah. Anyway, let's go over to our program of the week. Program of the week. Okay, everybody, so our program of the week this week is not a men's program or a women's program. I don't know why. I feel like I've been doing a lot of singles programs recently for program of the week. And so I was like this week I need to find a program that is not men's or women's singles. So we're moving over to ice dance because that's not singles. Obviously, there's two people on the ice, obviously. But anyway, this is a program that is pretty recent, not recent, but like somewhat recent. And that is from the 2022 European Figure Skating Championships, the free dance of Alison Reed and Salias Amrulevicius. And this program is set to Vinegar and Salt by Huberphonic, White Lies by Carl Hugo, and Lacrimosa by good old Mozart. I kind of like this program because honestly, I feel like not usually, but I feel like I associate a lot of their programs, Reed and Ambrulivicius, with kind of tough, like very tough, emotive, kind of almost upbeat, but dark and deep skating almost. And I think this program is a big departure from that. It is feeling very contemporary in a sense, and I really do enjoy that aspect of this program. Some of the key moments I really enjoy in this program are the twizzle at the beginning. There apparently is a mistake in the twizzle in the beginning in that Solius and Blevitius does an extra twizzle or something, but I honestly didn't even notice really. In fact, I thought the exit of the twizzle was kind of cool on that first set because they were kind of facing opposite directions and it was kind of unsynchronized. I don't know, unintentionally unsynchronized, but it made it look good still. But then the rest of the twizzle was very tight, very nice. I also really enjoyed the 1 foot step sequence in here because I just think that these ones look, camera wise from the camera, they look very, very flowy and very, very fast in my opinion. And at the very end of the 1 foot step sequence, they do a couple of twizzles and they kind of crouch down almost, and then this new music kind of starts up. So it's timed very, very well. And I love elements that are timed to the music. I love elements that are timed exactly when the music changes or the beat drops or things like that. I think it's a great kind of choreographic elements to kind of have to match with that music. I also really enjoyed some of the basic steps, the basic turns. I think this program really showed off the the grace that this team can really have, the grace that is in their skating. It isn't so tough and heavy as I feel like I associate with the program. It's tough and heavy in a good way, not a bad way at all. They're great skaters. But this program is just different for them, and I like it. I hope they do more of these programs in the future if they continue skating after this season. And then at the very end, I really like the last rotational list because Allison Reed is basically in a full split in the air the whole time. And Sally Sermilovich is holding one of her legs, but not holding the other. And it looks really difficult, like flexibility wise, too. But her legs are just in a full split. And he's rotating her around and around and around. Really cool. I like the choreographic character step sequence as well. There's this moment where they kinda, like, again, kinda kneel down and both put their hands up. The one hand up at the same time and the other hand up at the same time, and I think that's a super cool moment in synchronicity there as well. So just a lot of small details to like about this program from Rita and Lucius. They are really good skaters, and honestly, like, I wanna revisit a lot of their older programs, honestly, because I feel like I haven't paid attention to their programs as much as some of the other teams, but I feel like their programs are in general very, 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 very good. So anyway, go check it out after this episode of a Teen Talk Singing podcast. Reed and Ambrulevicius, their 2022 European Free Dance. Now it's time for the main episode. That was your program of the week. Okay, so this episode is a review of course, our very first Grand Prix of the 2025-2026 Olympic season. And the first Grand Prix, if you don't know what the Grand Prix are, go back to last week's episode. I did kind of explain that these Grand Prix, in a nutshell, I'll explain again basically. But there's these 6 events that are very much the premier events of the season. There are the top skiers in the world, and there's 6 of them. And the first one was this year, the Grand Prix de France in Angers in France. Usually, or in the most recent years, it has been Skate America in the US that has been the first one. But this Olympic season, they're going with a lot different scheduling than all of us are kind of used to. I believe the order is France, China, Japan, Canada, wait, maybe not. Maybe it's, I don't actually remember. USA is fifth and Finland is last. I'm not sure if it's Canada, Japan, or Japan then Canada. But anyway, just know that this is kind of new scheduling. So we started in France this year. And today I'm going to talk about my thoughts on the general competition. And then obviously each of the 4 disciplines, the men, the women, the pairs, and the ice dance results. And I have to say that this competition was a very chaotic start to the Olympic season for sure. This was literally so, so, so chaotic. And you cannot convince me that a normal person put this competition together because it just felt crazy. Like when I would wake up or see the results live, it was actually so crazy. So let's get right into it. Thoughts on the general competition. One thing I noticed, I don't know why, I'm pretty sure it was not just my screen because I also saw people on Reddit saying this, but the cameras were like tinted like pink, right? And like for a bit, and it kind of looks like, I don't know, it looked like some crazy movie cinematography. It was so like warm toned, and a lot of skiers had like very pinkish tone in their skin, and like the ice was pink, and I'm just like, what is this? Like, did I take something? Is this like some candy wonderland of figure skating? Like, it was actually super crazy. But yeah, the cameras were like pink for a moment. Like it was really weird. But then like as you watch through the competition, it became more normal and like the ice was actually like white, like ice should be, and all the skaters looked like they should be like there and not like from like Candyland or something. But genuinely the pink cameras, I don't know. A lot of people are also complaining about the very interesting camera angles. It was either really, really far away or very, very close up. Like, it was so close up you could see the skaters, like, boogers in their nose, or it was so far away the skater looked like a little ant on the screen, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But, yeah, the camera work was interesting. Yeah, it was giving very French, you know, like, avant-garde film or, like, contemporary film, but I don't think a figure skating competition is the best time to be using those cinematography skills, but I rest my case. The announcers are always my favorite at French events. I don't know why the skaters or not the skaters, the announcers that introduce the names of the skaters, especially the one that says "sur la glace," blah 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 blah. I don't really know what they're saying. I mean, I speak a little bit of French, so, like I can't. It's like I get it, but like "sur la glace," I don't know. Their voices are so like, I wish they were the announcers at like every event because I don't know that French like duo doing the announcing. I don't know "sur la glace." I don't know, it's just so calming, and I don't know why I like it so much. I find their voices so pleasing. I think the crowd here in France was really, really good. I feel like the crowd in France is always really good. There were so many signs, so many banners, so many like fun, creative, like different signs that people had made custom, flags, things like that. I don't know, the arena seemed very, very loud, very, very positive. It just gave, it was good vibes in Angers. There was this lady when Calmira was announced that like went crazy for Calmira. Like she looked so like happy to see Calmira. But yeah, one thing I also want to note is that if you're watching from home, there is a new technical box that tells you the current technical score of the skater. I mean, it's not a new technical box, it is the same system and the same math and scoring and everything. It is just updated aesthetically. And I personally liked it. A lot of people actually did not like it. A lot of people kind of like the one that had the black, white, and purple. But I don't know. I like this one a lot better because it's a lot more contemporary, it's a lot more modern, and I think that's kind of direction. I don't know, it felt very ISU, very of their modern, aesthetic that they're trying to go for now, I guess, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was, easier to read and comprehend and understand. Personally, from, like, a viewer standpoint, it was very simple. It's just, like, white and blue, and then the 3 red, green, yellow colors for the score, and then the math is shown with the GOE. It was perfect, and I enjoy this tech box. Other people, I don't know. But anyway, that's all my random nitpicky details about the general competition as a whole, the atmosphere, the vibes. Are we feeling good, people? Are we feeling good? Yeah, because we're not about to feel good because these results were so bad. I literally want to like cry because I'm just like, what? But yeah, I was genuinely, and I mean genuinely, baffled by some of these results because how? Okay, let's start with the men's results. These men's results were typical men's results in the sense that they were extremely chaotic. People were dropping like flies here, people. Like it was crazy. But what do you expect at a men's competition? I don't know. Let's start off in 10th place in the men's event. In 10th place was Kalmira of Japan. Like I mentioned earlier, that woman was screaming her heart out for Kalmira, bruh. And Kalmira is he was 10th here. He was actually third in the short program. He had a fairly clean short program. Did get under rotation on the triple axel and a quarter on the quad toe, but he was still good enough to end up third there. He unfortunately had a 12th place, last place free skate. He popped a triple loop into a double, issues on the quad toe, and then a pop double sow, fall on the triple axle, fall quarter and repetition on the quad toe, a quarter on the triple sow, and he did unfortunately lose a spin. So it was just a few too many technical mistakes here. Um, I know that he was kind of upset in the kiss and cry, but I think he released something on Instagram, I believe, that says that he's gonna build back strong and he was happy with all the support of the crowd. And so that is something really good to note, seeing that perspective. I remember last season he had kind of a similar result back in Japan where he was second in the short program and then 11th in the free skate. And, we're kind of seeing a similar unfortunate situation here with third in the short and then 12th in the free. Kind of one of the main things that has been kind of happening with Kalmir is that he's able to really put together a pretty decent short program half the time, but the free skate is really where he struggles with that consistency. And he has had really, really good free skates before, but sometimes those really good free skates don't come with a really, really good short program. So it's about finding that balance, I think. We saw him go to Grand Prix final 2 years ago. He's been top 10 at Worlds. He's done top 10 at Four Continents. He's been a very, very solid skater before. And he is a really great skater, and I don't think that this is too concerning in a way. consistency has not been the best, but it's something to build up for. And he does compete in Japan where the men's field is incredibly competitive. So it is really important for him to still become consistent in that free skate to really boost his chances of getting on that Olympic team. In ninth place from the US was Maxim Naumov. He was ninth place in the short program here. He did have an error, a bit of a step out on his triplets, triple toe, and he did have two slight spin errors at the very end. He was eighth place with a new personal best free skate. There were a couple of errors, the quad sow double toe, and the triple axel, double axel, and then the triple sow at the end. No falls, no pops, just kind of shaky landings here and there, but he still did get a personal best. So it's really good that he's been able to kind of not pop all those jumps and, put together a pretty solid performance here. We talk about that race for the U.S. Men's spot, that very third U.S. men's spot. Maxim Mamov is definitely in the conversation. This score was 226.74, which is a score I would say is pretty average among those that kind of group of U.S. men that are vying for that third Olympic spot, assuming that the first two go to Ilya Malinin and Jason Brown. But that third spot is very, very competitive. I think Maxim Mamov did a pretty solid performance here. It definitely could have been cleaner. If he's able to put something out that's very clean at nationals, he could very well be going on that Olympic team. In eighth place was Mikhail Selevko of Estonia, who was sixth place in the short program here. He had a pretty solid program, did step out of the quad and he did unfortunately fall on the step sequence. And then seventh place in the free skate with a clean skate except for a fall on the quad toe and an unclear edge on a Lutz, and then a level base on his last spin, but we do not judge. The spins were not the strongest in this program, but that is totally okay. And otherwise, he did pretty solid, I would say. Pretty good Julie on those first few jumping passes. Wanted to get that second quad toe down, but unfortunately could not. But that is all okay. Estonia has one spot. He's really competing with his brother, which is crazy. Alexander Selevko for that spot. Could be a big competition between the two. Could be a very interesting battle to see between the two brothers. In seventh place was another man from Japan, Tatsuya Tsuboi, who was fourth in the short program. Let's see. He was fourth in the short program with a good quad toe. Did kind of have an error on the quad style double toe there. And then he was ninth place in the free skate. Falls on both the quad toe, quad style, and under rotation on another quad style double toe, and an edge call on that triple Lutz. So a couple errors on the biggest point scoring elements were really what brought him down here. He really did want to get those quads done to really increase his technical ability. But two falls on the first jumping passes unfortunately really brought his score down. He was still a good fourth place in the short with a personal best. Ninth place in the free wasn't the best, but still a decent-ish result. He was on the Japanese men's world team last year. He didn't do amazing at Worlds, but he is still very much in the conversation for an Olympic spot for Japan. Yeah. Okay. Now this is an example of a good free skate, but not the best short program, coming from Andrew Toryashev of the U.S., who was 12th in the short here. He did pop his quad toe into a double toe and a quarter on the triple axel, and he did unfortunately have a fall on his step sequence as well. But he came back really strong with the fifth place free skate. His only error being a quad toe with a double toe that was downgraded and an unclear edge on a triple Lutz. But otherwise, really solid going for two quad toes. He got both quad toes done, in fact. Just got that double toe with a downgrade. Probably a slip of a toe pick there or something like that. But this was a really solid free skate from Andrew Torgashev, the pizza man. It was not a personal best, but I think was this very close to a personal best? His personal best? Yeah, it was very, very close to a personal best. So very good score for him. Like I said earlier with Maxim Naumov, Andrew Torgashev is also in that spotlight for a third men's spot. I do feel like he is the most likely to get it, but it's definitely not for sure. And so having good programs, a good short and a good free will really help him seal that spot. In fifth place, representing the home country of France, was Francois Pitot. He was eighth place in the short program here, with a solid skate except for a spin error, and then he was Sixth place in the free skate with again a really solid skate, just an unclear edge on a flip, and he got a personal best in overall score. There are two spots for the men. No, one spot. No, two spot for the men in France. But one of them is going to Adam Chamfort, and the other one is really likely going to Kevin Amon. So Francois Pizzo is definitely still young, and I'm hoping to see him more in the future in the next squad as well. In fourth place from the good old country of Switzerland was Lucas Britschke, who was seventh in the show program here. Two kind of major step outs on the quad toe, double toe, and then the triple axel. But then in the free skate, he was third with a pretty solid program. Did get a really impressive triple axel, double axel done, along with a quad toe, triple toe. Popped a single loop, a bit of an error on a triple axel. But this was a very solid comeback free skate after that seventh in the short, third in the free for a new season's best. Um, he is ranked sixth in the world, actually. Lucas Bracey has produced some really good results when it matters over the past few years. I'm sure he would love to add a Grand Prix medal to his repertoire. He does have a European medal, or two European medals. One European medal? I actually don't remember. No, he has two. Yeah, he just won Europeans. Yeah, he has two. He's been third and he's been first. He was third at NHK Trophy. What is that? 2 years ago. And I'm sure he would love to add another medal to his repertoire. Okay. In third place was Nika Igadze of Georgia. He was second in the short program here with a clean skate, personal best, got both quads done, fourth in the free. Not the best skate, air on the quad sal, pop triple sal, triple toe with a quarter on the end, and then unclear edge on that triple lutz. One thing to note about Nikigatsu is that in the past, he has been kind of seen as the skater who has not really been the most artistic, very much jump focused all of the time. And I think here he did kind of build off away from that I guess reputation of not being the most artistic skater. There is kind of more choreography being involved, a little more connection, and that's what we like to see from developing artistry. Yeah, am I professional? Definitely. The King of France was second place here. Adam Schouthenfa, who I believe has won this event. How many years in the running now? He has won this event 3 years in a row. This year, unfortunately, ended that streak with a second place. He was fifth in the short program here, with a fall on his quad lutz. It was quite a hard fall, and it was very impressive to see him get up from that. It was very much a hard fall on that quad lutz. Um, yeah. And then he had a very, very good comeback free skate. Quad lutz, quad toe, triple toe done, triple axels done, triple lutz done. The only error being a quarter on a quad sal. And then I believe a step out at the end of that, kind of an uncontrolled landing. But it was very interesting to see his kind of artistry pop out. Very wild skater, in my opinion. Very adventurous skater, in my opinion. His programs are kind of extreme. In the short, he's doing a Da Vinci theme short program and then a creation of Adam theme free skate. Both very artistically challenging, both very interesting in concept. And I think these programs are definitely very interesting. And I'm happy to see that kind of move forward in a way as we see him more in this season. Yeah, Okay. In first place was Ilya Malinin of the USA. He won by over, what is this? Like 40 points. He won by over 40 points here, just about. And this was a kind of dominating performance from Ilya Malinin. He was first in the short program here. Clean skate, quad flip got such great Jewy. It was amazing. Triple axel and then a quad lutz, triple toe. That triple toe did kind of look like it had kind of a bobble at the end, I have to say, in that show program. But the judges kind of gave a little bit negative GOE, but not way, way too much. This show program is Prince of Persia, I believe is the name of. I think it's a video game or something. And then called The Lost Crown. Dias Irae. It was very interesting. Yeah, it was very interesting, and Yeah, it was just very interesting. It was very Emelina. It had kind of rap in it. It kind of had the sounds in it. It had the vibes. It had the vibes. And then in the free skate, he had a pretty solid free skate as well. Excuse me. The only error being a quarter on a quadlets in the second half of the program, but he did. Let me count. One, two, three, four, five quads in this program, and I'm sure he has seven planned for the Olympics or something crazy. I don't know, but very, very solid program from Ilya Malin. His free skate is a little more contemporary. It's spoken word, and he says it's something very personal to him. I did enjoy it. It wasn't like amazing, amazing, but I think Ilya Molina is really growing as an artist in a way, and I think it'll be one of those programs where I like it the longer or the more times I see it as the season develops. Not my favorite just yet, but I think we'll get there with Ilya Molina. And so that was the men's event. And third place was Nikkei Gatse, second place was Adam Champa, and first place was Ilya Malinin. Let's head over to the women's event. Oh my gosh, what happened? Let's see where we want to start. Where do I want to start? I would like to start in the eighth place with Elise Lynn Gracie of the USA. We saw Elise Lynn Gracie last season with those two amazing competitions, Cranberry Cup and I think Nebelhorn Trophy. Uh, Ever since then, she has been kind of struggling with inconsistency issues. Here she did do kind of a step out on the triple lutz in the short and a seventh place short, and then only got a triple flip double toe done. And then in that free skate for her, she was ninth there. Pop single loop, a single flip, a quarter on a double axle and then quarter on a triple lutz as well. But still, like solid skates, they aren't super duper consistent. There were pops, there were step outs, there were mistakes. The GUE is not as high as she would like it to be, as she had at those two amazing performances last season. But she is a skater who is going to develop. She's still very young, and I'm sure she's going to develop really, really nicely. And I think she'll be one of the bigger leaders in the next quad. Perhaps just not in this Olympic season. In seventh place is kind of a similar skater from South Korea. That is Jia Shin of South Korea. She has been world medalist, junior medalist four times now or something. She was eighth place in the short program here with a single Let's Pop and then a double toe on a triple flip instead of a triple toe. And then she was seventh in the free as well. Downgraded double loop, downgraded double sal, unfortunately. So those two jumps did not work out for her. But all the bigger jumps, the Let's, the flip, very, very well done. Very, very good, Julie. Really good for her. She is a very young talent. It's her first senior international season. It is her first kind of experience at the big rings. I do think this is a good performance at a Grand Prix, despite the fact. I think, she had a better skate earlier this season at, what was it, Lombardia Trophy, I believe. It was a better skate there, but that does not mean that this was a worse skate at all. I think it's getting a matter of getting experience. I think Jia Shin is kind of getting there. In sixth place is her fellow competitor from South Korea as well. That was Chaeyoung Kim. She has been the world bronze medalist back in 2024. Ever since then, she was really solid last season, especially at Fort Collins. She won Fort Collins really good last season. She did apparently get into a car accident, I believe, and kind of got injured over the past few months, and so hasn't been 100%. Here she was sixth place in the short program. She got a triple edge, triple toe quarter call on the last jump, fall on an unclear edge, under rotated triple flip as well. Her free skate, she is repeating her free skate from the last season, and she was sixth place in the free skate as well. Under rotation on a triple toe and then quarter on a triple flip, but everything else is pretty solid. I did notice at this competition that her jumping technique is a lot different from the other skaters, at least the lead up to jumps was she kind of jumps into a jump. I don't know how to explain it, but she jumps into her jumps, and it's kind of interesting. But anyway, I really like her skating. I think I've liked her more the more times I've seen her. This program is really good strength for her. It is a really good program. In fifth place, here from France was Laurine Schild, who was really good here in France skating at home. She was fifth place in the short program with a clean skate, and then she was also fifth place with a new personal best in the free skate for best personal best overall. She just got an unclear edge on the triple flip, but otherwise everything was really good. I did hear on the broadcast from NBC that her jumping technique is quite strange and the landings are not the landings are all clean, but they're just not the best technique leading into the jumps, and so that is why her scores are usually not as high. These jumps are very good. This is a really good program in terms of base value, but the Dewey isn't as high as she would like it to be, and therefore, um, or her jump technique is not as good as some of the other skiers, and therefore that is why, excuse me, and that is why her Dewey is not as high. So yeah, okay. And fourth place here, maybe a surprise for some people, was Isabel Levito of the USA, who has been a world medalist. She's been US champion. She is a very accomplished skater. I do not want people to see this fourth place as a disappointment at all. This is a strong fourth place from Isabel Levito. This is a score that she should be very, very proud of, a very decent score. Here she was third place in the short program with a clean skate. Her short is fun, it's bubbly, it's different. I think it's really, really good to kind of see. Zuby Zuby Zoo, I really like it. I don't know why. It's playful, it's fun. Yeah. Her fourth place free skate is Cinema Paradiso, and it's very, very romantic. It's very, very operatic. She just made a big error, unfortunately, with big step out on the triple flip, triple toe that had an under rotation at the end, and she had an unclear edge on a triple lutz at the very end as well. But her score of 212.71 is very, very high compared to some of the other scores that she put on in the past. This is a really solid score. It's a season's best. It's better than everything she put up last season and better than everything she put up the season before it. So definitely like a really solid score. This would have won her like a lot of the Grand Prix last year as well. So she should not be disappointed at all. The three skaters above her, I think, were just a lot more remarkable in some of their technical score and their GUE, and those minor, minor mistakes that Isabel Levito made kind of brought her down in that regard. But I don't know if not making those mistakes would have put her on the podium or not. I think it would have been very close. In third place from Japan was Ryan Sumiyoshi. She was fourth in the short program here with a new personal best, quarter on a triple toe at the end of a triple lutz. And then she was third in the free skate as well. She did get an under rotation on her quad toe attempt. It did look very, very confident. It did look under rotated, but very, very confident. And she did pop a triple sal into a double sal. But technically, it was excellent. The jumps had very, very good Jui. Very, very, very good attempt at that quad toe. Um, yeah, and the spins were good, the step sequence was good. This was a bit of a kinda another program I kinda liked from, Ryan Sumiyoshi. It was kind of interesting. I don't know why. Felt a little bit wild in a good way. It felt a little bit, I don't know, safari or exploring vibes from Rei Tsumiyoshi, and I liked it a lot. As she can get more consistent on those technical elements, especially that quad toe, she'll become a really big force. But this was a personal best performance across the board, better than anything she's ever put up in the past, and by over 7 points, believe it or not. This is about 7 points. She did 7 points better than what she had before. So really great result for her. And in second place was the three-time world champion, the veteran of the field, Kaori Sakamoto, who was second in the short program here, just an unclear edge on the triple lutz. She was also second in the free skate. That was, all really good. She did get another unclear edge on the lutz, and then she did get kind of two V's on her spin. I'm still not sure what V entirely means, but it just means, as far as I know, that the spin wasn't done as correctly as it should have. I think it was missing a few rotations to qualify or something. I don't really know, but the program was all clean, all positive GOE, really good. She is the veteran in the field. She does bring a lot of experience. She does bring a lot of skating skills and the artistry side that maybe some of the other skaters don't have. Even though she was third in technical score here, she was first in the artistry component score, and so that shows you she is a super strong skater. She is very much in line to kind of get onto that Olympic podium, perhaps even the top of that Olympic podium. A very solid performance from Kari Sakamoto. But the star of this women's event in the first place was a new senior from Japan, Amy Nakai. This was a very, very good performance. She won by about 3 points here. So not a huge, humongous lead like Ilya Malinin had in the men's event, but this was a result to remember. This was a result to very much praise. This is her first season as a senior. This is her first senior Grand Prix, and she did so amazing. Amy Nakai of Japan, first in the short program with a clean triple axel, and the rest of the jumps were good. First in the free skate with a little bit of a bobble on that triple axel, but the rest of the jumps were very good. Um, again, perhaps the components, the artistry has not been developed. She was fourth here in that category and first in the technical score, but fourth in that components category. This might be a big, big dark horse. Not dark horse. I don't want to say dark horse because I don't think she's a dark horse. She's a very bright horse. Very big statement to make this Olympic season. Kind of coming out first senior season, winning your first senior Grand Prix. Huge statement to make, especially when you place above a lot of other experienced skaters like Kari Sakamoto, Isabel Levito, Cheon Kim, who have done really, really well in the past at these type of competitions. And you place above them with triple axels, really solid results. I definitely could see Amy Nakai making a run for that Olympic podium, perhaps even the top of it. So yeah, this was a whole Japanese sweep here. In third place, Rion Sumiyoshi. Second place, Kari Sakamoto. And first place, Amy Nakai. Let's pop over to the pairs event. We're just going to start off with third place and make our way up. This was a very consistent pairs event. Everyone who placed their placement in the short program placed the same placement in the free skate. So if you were third in the short, you were also third in the free, and you were also third overall, which is actually crazy. So yeah, really good results, I guess, from the pairs for being consistent, unlike the men. The men would hate to see the pairs. The pairs are a lot more consistent than the men were. Okay. In third place was the Hungarian team of Pavlova Siatchenko. I honestly don't remember. Did I talk about them a lot last season? They were kind of seen as those technicians of the field because they were so strong technically. But I think last season they kind of did have a couple of struggles here and there. Not the most consistent team in the world, but still pretty solid results. They were fourth at Worlds back in 2024. But they opened up their season pretty strong. They had a personal best short program here, clean skate there. In their third place free skate did have an error on the side by side triple toe. I think they wanted triple toe double axle, but only got a triple toe and a waltz jump there done, unfortunately. But really good start for them after having not the best season last season. This is a score pretty comparable to what they kind of got in that higher range last season, and so obviously hoping to build off of that as the season goes on. In second place was the Canadian team of Stellato and Deschamps, the inspirational story that we all love of Stellato and Deschamps, coming back after so many years off of skating, going through so many partners for skating, for pair skating, and finally finding the right partner and the right partnership in Stellato and Deschamps. They were second in the short program, did have a little bit, and I mean a little bit, literally 0.06 negative GOE on a triple toe. And then they were second in the free skate. They did only do a single twist, surprisingly, instead of a triple twist. There was kind of a big error on that. They did get a quarter on a double axle and pop double south side by side. Triple loop throw was a little bit shaky on the landing of it. But overall good. I do want to note that their short program has a backflip in it, which is kind of crazy. It's called an assisted backflip, which is part of the choreography. So that's pretty interesting. Kind of weird, but yeah, I love it. Assisted backflip. Yeah. Okay, and then in first place was the Japanese team of Miura and Kihara, who delivered a very dominant performance here. They are kind of seen in that front running for that Olympic gold alongside maybe the German team of Hase and Volodin, the Italian team of Conti and Macchi. The pairs is a very interesting battle between, I feel like, those main top three. Stellato and Deschamps are also kind of in that conversation, but they haven't been the most consistent recently. Medokina and Barulava are also in that conversation, but again, never really the most consistent. So Mira and Kihara have really established themselves as really consistent pair skaters. Here they were first overall with a first in the free skate, did get a quarter on their triple toe. And then they were first in the free skate as well. The only error being a quad, not quad, well, triple toe, quarter call, single axle, and then an error on their last lift at the very end, a little bit of bobble, but still really good. So yeah, definitely still in that conversation for that top spot at the Olympics. So for the pairs, third place was what is that? Third place Pavlova Siatchenko, second place Solano Deschamps, and first place Mira and Kiara. Now let's move to what has to be the messiest ice dance event I've seen in perhaps forever. I am not gonna lie, I don't know what happened at this pairs event, or not pairs, ice dance event, because like wow. Just wow. That is all I can say about this event is just wow. And not in a good way. This event was so messy. I yeah, and I'm gonna explain a why. It's a bit about the competition, it's a bit not about the competition, and I'm just gonna try my best to explain why the heck this happened. Because I don't exactly know. Let's start up in fifth place with the Georgian team of Davis and Smolkin. Davis and Smolkin, they were fifth place here with a fourth place rhythm dance, a really solid rhythm dance for them. And then they were fifth place in the free dance with, again, pretty solid. I think I saw a couple people say that they kind of deserve these scores. We've had instances of them kind of getting overscored in the past, and we've seen kind of instances of them kind of getting overscored in the past. And a lot of people have not really been happy about them being overscored in the past. And I do think they kind of deserve this score. It's a really solid score. Reflects that, yeah, they are good dancers. Maybe they're not among the best, but still really solid. GOE, good, solid-ish levels. Could again be higher on those some of those level twos. But yeah, pretty solid from them. Yeah, good for Davis and Smolkin. Where the shock comes is this fourth place result. This fourth place result, like I took it personally. I'm not gonna lie because this is my favorite team, and what fourth place, fourth place. When we thought they get first, when we predicted that they would get first, I am just saying that this was the shock of my life. And in fourth place was the Italian team of Guignard and Fabri, who I am very big fans of. So I kind of am kind of biased towards the Italian team of Guiar and Fabri. But I honestly kind of felt like, wow, this is kind of crazy results for them. We talk about ice dance as a very consistent discipline. The people who are on top are usually always on top. And this is kind of an example of that not happening because Guignard and Fabri are usually kind of at the top. You would have expected them to be on the podium here, if not in first place for sure, because that's kind of how the ice dance hierarchy works. But Guignard and Fabri were in fourth here. They had a fifth place rhythm dance, which they seemed very upset with. It was very good, Julie, and very split across the board here. I'm seeing some components, right? I'm seeing some components. Some of the judges put them fifth place in components, some of them put them first. Same thing with technical. The best technical they had was a second place, but that went all the way down to an eighth place. So that's like showing you how divisive these judges were around Gigar and Fabry. Usually they're more consistent. Usually they would say, okay, we should all put them in first or first and second or kind of things like that. But this was crazy. And then they had a fourth place free dance again, all clean, and this was kind of crazy because we're used to seeing them do really clean programs with really high Julie and getting really good scores, and this was just not it. Their total score was 195.98, and I don't know, like the last time they put that low of a score down was last year at this same event, which they made mistakes in. This year they didn't make a single mistake, and they were just not really rewarded the scores that I think they and a lot of other people kind of thought that they deserved, because they even kind of walked out of the kiss and cry after they saw their scores. They were really upset with it. And I was kind of upset with it because I thought good team, good skating, good reputation with the judges, and yet they're getting a fourth place. Like, it was very much a shock of the century for me. And I don't know if this trend will continue. I don't know if the judges are going to continue kind of. I don't really know. A lot of people said that it's because of their packaging, but I don't know. I feel like they have solid packaging. I feel like they're pretty solid skaters. Maybe their programs aren't like stunning and artistic and stuff, but they're so solid technically that I thought for sure those scores are going to be higher. But this was very much a shock for me. Anyway, moving on. The other two teams in second and third are not maybe as much of a shock, but we'll get to it. In third place was the team I mentioned in the program of the week, Frida Amrulevicius of Lithuania. They were second in the rhythm dance here with a clean skate, and they were third in the free dance here with another clean skate. Could have gotten a little bit higher levels on the steps, and then the 1 foot turns. Oh gosh, 1 foot turns, but again, really solid skates from them. This is a really strong result for them coming out of that Olympic qualifying competition where they did get an Olympic spot for Lithuania, kind of proving that yes, we are good skaters. That one mistake at Worlds in the rhythm dance does not define us. Really good for them. Really happy for them. I do see them as a team that could have kind of an outside chance, maybe at the Grand Prix final. Their next Grand Prix is Grand Prix Skate Canada, which definitely can be competitive. But I'm excited to see if they do kind of have a chance at that, or maybe even becoming an alternate, because I think they have been alternates maybe before. I'm not really sure though, but yeah. And then in second place was the British team of Fear and Gibson. They were first place in the rhythm dance. First place in the rhythm dance. Remember this, people. First place in the rhythm dance with their Spice Girls themed rhythm dance. Really, again, good, clean. Everything was fine. Everything was fine. And then they were second in the free dance with their kind of Scottish folk free dance, which is very fun, very interesting. Good. I do see the levels were lower, which makes sense. The levels were lower, but then straight up, like, the components were lower, and I'm like, oh, like, this was a good skate for them. They had their personal best is, about 5 points higher than this. It's a good score. I think they deserve this score. I think it's really the first place team for me that kind of was like, oh. But anyway, yeah, Fury and Gibson in second place. Now let us talk about the first place team in this Icons event. And this is the team of Lawrence, Fournier Baudry, and Guillaume Cizeron. And I'm not gonna talk about the controversy around this team. This team is very controversial because of a lot of the things in the past that they've done, but it's not it is quite triggering and quite kind of very triggering for kind of this podcast. And I have talked about it, but not talked about it like specifically way before. But the situation around the formation of the partnership is quite controversial. Both of them had separate partners. Both of those partnerships had huge problems. Very controversial. And I highly recommend, if you want to research it, to do it yourself about kind of the situation between Fournier, Baudry, and Cizeron and why they kind of made a partnership. But if you don't, that's totally fine, because it is quite kind of a triggering story from both sides, and it is really tragic what happened. And yeah, so I'm not going to talk about the controversy around this team, okay? But I am going to talk about the scores, which I do feel like were a little bit unfair. Let's start off with their rhythm dance. They were third place in the rhythm dance. This is a personal best because this is their first competition, so everything kind of counts for a personal best. They were third in the rhythm dance. They fell at the end, okay? They fell at the end on their very last element, the choreo rhythm sequence, I believe it is, I think. And they fell at the end. And you would think, oh, fall equals kind of lower score in items. But this was very interesting in the sense that they still got a good score. They still got a good score. They still got a personal best of 78 points flat, and they got third place in the dance, like, above many other teams that did not have falls or did not have as big mistakes in their rhythm dance. And you might be saying, oh, well, maybe it's because they're components. These components to me felt a little bit high and generous. Yes, they are both great dancers. They have a lot of experience. I don't know if the skating skills were high, and I agree with that. But I don't know if the presentation was as high as it should be. I don't know if the composition was like really there for me. And I don't know if I am maybe biased because of this situation around the team. I want to say maybe I am, and there's some unhidden bias, but I just don't think they deserve third place in the rhythm dance after a fall and good components, but just the other teams were a little bit better for me in general. But they got very good levels, got really great Julie on all the other elements, and it looks very much like the judges were like fours, fives thrown at them. And then that last fall, I don't know if they'd really deserve that score with the fall. Falls and ice stands are usually pretty tragic. Yes, it was on their lowest valued element, but it was still a fall in the ice stands, and a lot of other teams didn't have the fall. I think they should have been fifth in the rhythm dance or maybe even sixth. I don't know, but I think they should have been from fifth to sixth in the rhythm dance, and not really third. It was very very close, but just saying. And then they come out with the first place free dance. This was set to the soundtrack of the movie. I believe it's called The Whale, I think. And it was very contemporary. It was beautiful. It genuinely it was a very good program. But like wow, 133.02 points for this free dance. Again, I understand that they are very, very good skaters. They're both very, very accomplished. They're both very good skaters. Again, I just like it was very pretty. And yes, this was a good skate, but I don't know if it was like what is that? 8 points higher than if you're in Gibson. Or you know what I mean? Like I don't know if it was really that bad. Like this was really high score. That's what I'm trying to say. This is just a really high score for me, and I just it would have won what? It would have won third at Worlds last year. It would have like I don't know if those scores I don't know. They just felt a little high for me. They just felt a little high, and maybe it has to do with home cooking or whatever you want to call it, because they were skating in France at this competition, and maybe we'll see them at another competition and they won't get as high scores. But I don't know about this, guys. I don't know about this. Definitely very controversial in the community. I saw a lot of people complaining on Reddit, but that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. That's just one random teenager's opinion. And I'm sorry that it's kind of messy. But yeah, in this interesting ISIS event, third place went to Reed and Milivicius, second place went to Fear and Gibson, and first place went to Fournier and Baudry and Cizeron. And that concludes what has to be the most crazy Grand Prix de France I have ever watched. I feel like in general this competition is chaotic, so it makes sense that Grand Prix de France is just chaos after chaos after chaos after chaos. But yeah. Anyway, that is all for the Grand Prix de France. I hope you guys enjoyed kind of my rants and rambles about each skater, each topic, each crazy thing that kept on happening on this event. Next week, we will be talking about the 2025 Grand Prix Cup of China. So we're going to be using the city of Chongqing, I believe it's pronounced. I'm very sorry if I said that wrong. Chongqing, and we are going to be going to China to see all the crazy things there, and I'm sure it is to offer even more random surprises, right? I hope it's not in a negative way. I hope it's in a good way, but we will definitely see. We will definitely see. So that is all for this episode of a Teen Talks Game podcast. My name is Van Gogh. I hope you enjoyed listening to me rant for like 50 minutes about Grand Prix de France and maybe that Iceland's event that I don't want to pretend that I don't want to know that Iceland's event existed. But anyway, I hope you guys will listen next week to my review of Cup of China. Have a great weekend watching skating. I hope it's not as chaotic. Please. Thank you. Bye bye.